Hi and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and today I will start my playthrough of Robin Hood and the Merry Men. And yes, of course I will use the official solo rules. I was debating with myself for quite a while, to be honest, if I want to go for the co-op version or the solo rules. In the end I decided to go with the solo rules because there's an extra deck of cards I get to choose and it's always nice hearing the components you get. So yeah, let's see how things go, shall we?
The King's Tasks. King Richard has left for the Holy Lands and Prince John has seized the opportunity to take advantage. He ordered the sheriff to heavily tax all those who stand in his way. Robin Hood and the Merry Men must make a stand before Nottingham is plunged into chaos. Yes, we are playing with Scenario 1. There are 5 that come with the solo rules, I believe. The reason why I chose Scenario 1, despite the fact that I have to collect victory points here, which I'm usually not a big fan of when playing a game solo, but here it's really a clear winning condition. So below 130 points, you don't consider this as a win. At least I don't. But again, the main reason to go for this solo or this very first scenario is it really comes with more or less all the components that are part of the standard semi-cooperative game. So there are those King Richard cards. Those ransom tiles also have, let's say, way higher importance when playing this game with this scenario, because then you can also go for those victory points when pretty much trading in your captives. And overall, you can really use all of those locations way more effectively, or at least it makes way more sense in order to use all of those locations. Normally this is a semi-cooperative game and I like semi-cooperative games. The problem is here I'm not so sure if the theme really makes sense to play this semi-cooperatively. Of course, whatever all players can lose or one of the player will win works in most of the games, not necessarily here. So why should Little John compete with Robin Hood of who is the mightiest outlaw or whatnot? Still, it's really a lot of fun to play this game semi-cooperatively. The same is true for Doctor Who, which also there's a huge debate on the Geek if you should consider this game semi-coop or cooperative, blah blah blah. I always play it semi-cooperatively and still enjoying this, despite the fact that it may not be fitting to the theme, but still very enjoyable experience this way. When playing this game solo, you will have 5 heroes at your disposal. I decided to go with Robin Hood for sure, so this was the one character I really chose. Otherwise it would have felt wrong in a way not having Robin Hood here. And all of the other characters have been drawn randomly. Yes, as I'm playing with the deluxe version or the Kickstarter, I don't know, there are also, I think, 4 or 5 different or alternative models for each of the characters available. So which is why I then in the end decided to go in randomly here. Another change to the semi-cooperative rules or the cooperative rules is that when playing solo, you start the game with 6 cards or with a hand of 6 cards, and you will always draw up to 6 cards. And you can also then later on unlock a 7th card. But for now we have 6 at our disposal. And I think without further ado, let's get started. As said, I have to come up with 130 victory points at least. This is definitely challenging. So I tried this before, especially scenario 1. I didn't make it. And we also have to survive full 5 rounds without losing. How do I lose? That's either if this guard track is full, so as soon as we have to place the 6 guards here on this track, we automatically lose the game. And if one of those 4 piles here runs out of coins, this also triggers the end of the game, because this more or less means that King John has collected all the taxes from poor little Nottingham, and that then I also automatically lose the game. There of course are a lot of ways in order to get back some of those coins here on the track, and of course I can also remove guards from this track here as part of my hero phase later on, but I'm pretty sure I will come to that. Each round starts with a so-called Merryman phase. So now I get to place my Merryman, then we do the hero phase, and blah blah blah. We do that alternating, and again after the end of round 5, if we are still alive, we tally up our score, and if we have 130 of those, we are successful. In order to place a Merryman, we have to play one of our cards. And we can play a card here to the right hand of our player board, then it's basically an active card. Or we can place it on the left hand side of our board, then it's the passive card. Some of the actions can only be played or utilized by using them as an active. And this one is a perfect example here, because this is a card that lets us build a barricade, and it also makes building the barricade cheaper, which is always nice. And we can also, or alternatively, use this card to send an envoy to King Richard, which we also need to do in order to score one of those King Richard's cards at the end of the game. And for every envoy we are sending there, we are allowed to score one of those cards, but not more than 3 envoys, so basically 1 per card. So I cannot score 1 card more than once. As one of those victory cards, or King Richard's task cards, gives us 1 victory point for each penny that's still next to the south road at the end of the game, I think let's build up some more barricades down there. And each of those roads start the game with 6 coins. So if we keep this status at the end of the game, and we will be able to score that King Richard's task card, that's pretty much 6 victory points right off the bat. Definitely not bad. So I think, yeah, let's try to protect this road by placing at least 1 more barricade now. So let's play this shaman here, and again I will go for the topmost action here. Again, I'm only allowed to go for the leftmost potions of this card here. The right hand, the victory point here, is only valid if I keep this card to the left of my player board, so pretty much playing it as a passive card and not using it throughout the game. Then it will score me also an additional victory point, but I come to that later on too. For now, let's really focus on building a barricade. In order to get to know what resources are needed in order to build a barricade at the south road, we have to go for this table. And this is where the game starts to feel a little bit, I don't know, overly complicated, because the same is true when building a trap. Depending on where you want to build the trap, you have to pay different resources. Doesn't make the game easier. Overall, the game is very simple, but all those little let's say deviations and changes from location to location make the game a little bit tough, but okay, I can deal with that. So in order to build a road here, we have to pay 2 wood, 1 stone, I believe, and 1 coin. The good thing is this coin I can place to one of the roads of my choosing. And keep in mind, I get 1 discount, so I think, yeah, I have to do that. I only have 1 wood at this point in time, so I will spend 1 wood, 1 stone, or I don't know what it really is, and 1 coin because of my discount. Again, I will take this coin and place it on top of the south road here, or the pile of the south road. So that's now 7 potential victory points if I keep the state until the end of the game, that is, of course. But what's more important, I get to choose one of those barricades here. Oh, that's very nice. This first one doesn't give me any bonus whatsoever, and as I've chosen to go for the south road, I have to place the barricade now on the south road, and I always go basically to the farthest spot from the castle away. So the next time this guy would move, it would be stopped here by this barricade, so definitely already helping me here. Maybe I shouldn't have forgotten to place one of my merrymen here, because I was going for this building action here, so I only have 5 merrymen available this round. Next, I want to go for some weapons, I believe. So I will play this dark little guy here, and he can give me basically a bonus when I send one of my merrymen to the hideout spaces of the weaponsmith up there. I could also use this guy to build either a trap or a barricade, so this is really a very powerful card, but I think I really want some more weapons this round. So yeah, let's take one of our guys, let's send him here to the weaponsmith, and because I played the correct symbol here to my active cards pile pretty much, I get to place my merryman to the topmost hideout of that gathering site here. If I would have played this card passively, then I would have had to place my merryman here on the center spot. Only then I would only get 1 of those dice, but because this guy gave me a bonus, I get to choose 2 weapons of my choosing. And I think I want to go after the brown carriage, so I will go for 2 bows for now. So this card gets discarded, and I keep those 2 dice next to my playboard. And in solo game I can have up to 6 dice, whereas in the competitive mode I'm limited to only 4 dice. And I only have 2 bows available here, so there are only 2 brown dice, 2 pink dice, 2 orange dice, and 2 turquoise dice or bluish kind of dice. So this is pretty much was done as part of setup. One thing to notice, once I placed my guy here, I really have put him at risk. So that's really important, because when they're here in those hideout spaces, those guards could capture those guys. If I would have played him with a passive card and I would have placed him here at the central side of this location, then yeah, he would, I don't know, dive among or hide among those other folks here and would not be able to be seen for those guards. But in this case, yeah, he is kind of exposed, and then he's definitely subject to be arrested, as at least when some of those guards will show up here, which is definitely not unlikely. But I think let's do it anyway. I still have more than enough guards, merrymen available. Let's keep on playing active cards. Not so sure if that's a good idea, because you really want some passive cards later on, because they will score you points. Those cards will get discarded at the end of this round. So yeah, let's play this lovely lady here. And this allows me to place one of my merrymen to the, I don't know, the smith, I guess. Because I played the card with the appropriate symbol, I get to place my merryman onto the hideout space, and then I get not just 1 tool but 2 tools, because the card told me so. And this brings me to 3 tools in total. Yeah, I still have 2 more merrymen left this round, and I think now it's time to play a passive card here. So I will play this guy here. If I would have played them as an active card, when I would steal from the rich, I would gain an additional loot from the loot bag. But I think in this case, I will still use this guy to send one of my merrymen to the town center of Nottingham, and there I want to try to rob the rich. Again, I'm not getting any bonuses here, but now I get to roll my first dice. And I get to choose how many times I want to do that. My first attempt is relatively easy. So I would roll 3 dice and I need 1 success. If I would stop there, I would be able to draw 1 loot from the loot bag. Then I could say, oh, let's continue. Then I would only roll 2 dice, but still with 1 success. And then if I would do that again, then I would only roll 1 dice and would have to still score 1 success. And if I am successful on all of those 3 rolls, I get 3 loot tokens. But again, I get to choose to stop after each attempt. Of course, if I fail with my last try, all of the loot tokens I got here are pretty much lost, and my guy will be sent to prison. So let's finally roll some dice. For my first attempt, I only need 1 success. Perfect. That's my success I needed. So I can now decide to stop or to continue. And those dice, by the way, have a 50-50 chance of rolling a success. So yeah, for now, let's keep pushing. So I will mark it here. So I was successful once. Let's do the same thing again. And yes, I'm still successful. And I think now I will stop, because this entitles me to draw 2 loot tokens from the bag. My guy is not discarded. What did I get? 1 penny. That's pretty common, to be honest. And second, another penny. So overall, I was able to grab 2 pennies from the bag. Definitely not bad. Those tokens go right back. And this was this action. And then last but not least, let's collect some wood. Again, I'm going for a special card here. This gives me 2 wood instead of only 1. So let's grab our final merryman, send him to the lumberjack, and then I would pretty much gain 2 of those wood tokens. And yes, the components in this game are top notch, at least when you're playing with those deluxe components. Really adorable to look at. Okay, these were all of my actions for my merryman, so we will move into the hero phase of the first round. And the first thing to do in the solo game is to draft 4 weapon dice. Again, your limit is 6. In the normal semi-cooperative version, it's 4. I think I will totally go for those axes here, because I can use them to either go for a carriage or to free up some folks later on. I still have the bow with me, and I think I will also go for those daggers here. So I have 6 weapons for this round, which is definitely not a bad start. Next, our villains will fight back. So we'll draw one of our solo villains cards. So in the normal competitive game, you have different set of cards, which are definitely somewhat easier. Then you follow this card from top to bottom. So here it says we place 1 guard here at the smelter and 1 at the church. I think that's okay actually, but I have some bad news for our guy up there, but I come to that in a second. Let's place the guards. So 1 goes in here, and they always start at the top, pretty much like we have to place our merman. And those 2 guys, by the way, in each of those locations have been set there as part of setup. We are still not done yet. We have to place yet another guy here at the church. Right now, that's not a problem. Next, we have to place the sheriff at the weaponsmith. The problem with the sheriff is he always comes with 2 guards. The first guard goes in here, hey, captured. The second guard goes in here. So this is now fully occupied. So the next guy a guard would go here, he would to go to the guard track. And keep in mind, this is one of our losing conditions. Because one of our guys has been captured, I have to place 1 resource next to it. Because if I'm not freeing this guy until the end of the round, this goes to the sheriff's stash and our guy goes to the prison. And yeah, then we may have to free him from there. Last thing to do on this card is to move the carriages. So the carriages at North Road and South Road. Really, why the South Road? But good thing is we have placed a barricade here. So let's start with the North Road. And on those roads, there's always 1 natural barricade here, like this fallen tree here. But now, basically with the next activation, they will just jump over the first barricade, and there aren't any additional barricades. So this carriage will move right into Nottingham. We place this up right on this track here, and whenever this is full in a 1 and 2 player game, something terrible will happen. But right now this means 1 coin is being removed from this road here, and keep in mind, when our pile runs out, we have also lost the game. Next, we will also place another carriage on this road, and then the road activation ends. This is an orange carriage, but we still have to activate the South Road. Same thing happens here. This will be blocked by our second barricade, so well done. I think that's already a good start, so we are not getting to remove something. The problem is we have to place a second carriage on this road, so and when the next time this road activates, both of those guys would move. And if something terrible will happen to my barricade, then yes, we have a problem here. Okay, this card gets discarded, and then it's time to activate our heroes. Dum dum dum. In the solo game, I get to activate 2 heroes each round, and each hero gets to make 2 actions. And the problem is I cannot use the same heroes the next round. So when they come back, I will lay them flat to indicate, okay, I cannot use them the following round. So I cannot keep using Robin Hood basically until the end of the game. I have to do that in an alternating fashion. And I guess I want to start with the Miller's Son here, because he gives me a reroll when I activate him on the South or North Road. And yes, I totally want to go to the South Road because I want to rob this carriage here. So we will place this guy here. And in order to attack a carriage, I have to use 2 dice of the same color. In this case, that was one of the reasons why I was going for those bows here. I knew that this guy would be moving. So yeah, let's roll those dice. And then I need to roll only 1 success. The thing is, I still need to invest 2 weapons in order to attack those. What's the first one? Yes, we are successful. So I don't need to go after this brown, or don't need to use his special ability, though this thing has been captured, which means it also goes to this track here, but it will go face down. So we have covered this space here. So if the next carriage would have gone there, I would have lost 2 coins from that road. And of course, yeah, you see it for yourself. The next carriage to do that would be 3 coins. But for now, I'm not complaining. I also get the reward that's in this row here. That's 1 coin and 1 resource of my choosing. And I think let's go for some stone here, or is it iron? Cannot quite remember. I'm pretty sure it's iron ore or something like that. So yeah, let's totally grab that. And I also get victory points. And that's depending on the amount of barricades I have at that road. So each player who has barricades would now score 2 points per barricade. So that's very interesting mechanic in the semi-cooperative mode. So if all the other players also have barricades here, you really want to decide, hey, do I really want to give those other guys victory points too? But of course, in the solo game, this doesn't really matter. I have 1 barricade here, which means I have just scored my first 2 victory points out of 130. Hooray! There is still a carriage here, and I have the appropriate dice. So now I really could choose to go after this one. And this doesn't count me an additional action, by the way, because he's already here, and the rules talk about a move action, and I can do all kinds of stuff as part of the move action. Of course, if I fail one of those tasks, then this move is over. Then I have to move on with my second move if I have one. So in this case, I have the dice and I have the carriage, and I can protect the road here. Again, this could give me some victory points. So yes, let's totally do that. So that's the pink die here, or the pink carriage. So we have to go with 2 pink weapon dice. So let's roll again, and yes, those are 2 successes, definitely good enough. This carriage is gone too, which means we have protected this space too. But keep in mind, when this track is full, and in a 2-player game that's only 6 carriages, a tax upsurge happens, and this is never a good thing, by the way. And the more of those carriages are laying flat, the worse it gets, actually. But in this case, I still get the reward, which is an additional coin in this case. And again, I will score 2 more points. He still has 1 more move left. Now he has to move on. There aren't any carriages left. And I think let's try to free our captive up here. So by moving here, the sheriff is here too, which means I have to pay 1 distraction. So pretty much a bottle of wine in this case in order to distract this guy. This allows me to move in here. And now I get to choose which of those guards I want to attack. And apparently I want to attack this guy who's holding my merryman here captive. I have to show this to you. At this location, I could go for the axes or for those staffs in order to basically try to engage those guys, which was one of the reasons why I decided to go for this axis here. So I get to choose now if I want to roll 1 or 2 dice. Only 1 success is enough, and these dice are definitely better because 4 of their dice show the right symbol. And I think, yeah, let's do that. Let's roll, and of course I am failing. Okay, I can now pay 1 basically bottle in order to re-roll that die. So another distraction. I can only do that with those weapon dice here, by the way. And again, it's a shield. Are you kidding me? Wow, yeah, that's my typical rolling, guys. And good thing is I get to keep my dice now, so my weapons, so they're not spanned. The problem is this guy in theory would have to move on, but of course he's out of move, so he will simply stay where he is and nothing bad will happen to him. The problem is, yeah, this guy will most likely go to prison at the end of this round. Okay, this was a bad start for sure. Of course I was able to get some carriages, that's good, but I really wanted to free my prisoner up there. The problem is I'm out of distraction token, so I cannot go there again with another hero. So wow, who would have thought about this? So I think, yeah, let's use Robin Hood. And his special ability says I get a reroll when going to the archery ranges or when trying to free a prisoner. And usually I don't get rerolls for those. So yeah, let's go to the archery range in order to get some more gold. This works pretty similar to robbing the rich. So I have basically 4 or 3 turns to go. The first one I get to roll 3 dice. I need 1 success, then I need to get 2 successes and then 3 successes. But the good thing here is the money I've earned along the path is already mine, so I'm not losing anything. And he gets a reroll, which is not bad. Okay, this was the first success he needed for this first one, so we have made our first penny. We do the same here. Now we need 2 successes. Awesome, this was good enough, so we get another coin. And then we do the same with the last one here. Now I need 3 successes. Yeah, that's not good enough. I only get 1 reroll, so I will not make it to 3, but that's not too bad. I still can keep basically both of those pennies here. With my second action, I want to move down here in order to attack those guards. Of course, I'm not getting to free any of my merrymen, but I can still keep or get those guards as captives, and I can still trade them in at the end of the round. And again, I will only go for 1 die, so I will attack this guy here first. Yes, this is an axe, so I was able to capture him. And now as a free move, I can basically do the same thing again. So let's see, let's roll. Unfortunately, I'm not successful in this case. If it would have been successful, this is the last guard, I get the reward from that location. So that's definitely never a bad thing. But that's pretty much all of my action. At least I was able to get 1 of those guards. All of my guys or my heroes have been moved, so I was not able to rescue this guy, so he goes to the prison. This guy or this thing goes to the sheriff's stash down there. I get to free this guy, and I really want to free this guy because every merryman that's in prison will cost me some victory point by the end of the game. The sheriff simply goes back to the castle, to the other folks. The heroes I used go back to their hero cards, but as mentioned, they go down there face down pretty much, or laying down, so I cannot use them during the next round. And all of the merrymen I've used go back to my training grounds. Of course, this guy that's here in prison has to stay where it is. So I will start the next round with 5 merrymen. I only have 4 coming back, but that's why I have some reserves here on my training grounds. And then I can trade in my captives, so my guards here, for those ransom tiles. And yes, I will totally do that. So I will give this guy back to the sheriff, and this will score me 3 points. I can only claim each of those rewards once. So let's say I had 5 guards in my hold somewhere, I could only go in for 2 of those rewards. But in this case, let's go for it, because this gives me 1, 2, 3 more victory points. And one thing I forgot, of course, I get to, when I defeated this guard down there by the smith, I get 1 reputation. So for each guard you are defeating, you get 1 step on the reputation. That's really important because it shows you how much victory points you get for your barricades, for your traps, or for your envoys at the end of the game. So the higher you get here on the reputation track, the better it is. Really taking out those guards is really, really important. Then we move our little track, so we are moving into round 2. We have survived so far, hooray! And I still get to draw cards, of course. And I get to choose if I want to hold on to this card or not. And I think I would rather not. So let's discard this card. And this means I get 6 new cards for my next round. Okay, we already know... Oh no, we don't. But she's pretty good because she lets me build a trap with a discount, which is good. This is another shaman. Not sure who this guy is. Okay, here and there. And that's good. So here we have basically 2 cards that show the same face. And there is also a set collection game in this round. So if I keep those cards in my passive pile at the end of the game, then the more cards I have of each type, the more points I will score. For 2, I believe I get 3 points or so. I have to check that. But the more I have of the same kind, the better it is, apparently. Yeah, that's the full first round of my playthrough of Robin Hood and the Merryman. I really hope I haven't messed things up too badly. I'm pretty sure you will let me know, and I will, as usual, try to correct all my errors as much as I can. I also have started to use the Klingon subtitles channel, so if you spot anything and I was not able to find this during editing, I will try to leave a comment there, like most of the other YouTubers do that today. And yeah, I hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and maybe the second episode of my playthrough of Robin Hood and the Merryman here. And until then, bye bye.